Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jim with Leads Geeks. Today we got Megan from Zillow on the line. Megan's actually going to be interviewing me, and I'm going to let you introduce yourself, Megan, and go from there.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Jim. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. So my name is Megan Olson, and I am a senior business consultant on the enterprise team, which is working with brokerages across the country. And I've been at Zillow for over 5.5 years. And so I've asked Jim today to allow me to interview him because I've worked with Hatch Realty for about almost 5 years. And during that time, I've seen a ton of growth. I've seen a ton of changes, and I've seen them just continue to deliver and see great results as we've made a ton of changes here at Zillow. The business and industry has changed and all of that. So the goal today is to absolutely learn a little bit more about what you guys are doing to drive those results. Okay, so thank you, Jim. So Jim, you are the inside sales manager at Hatch Realty, and I have had the pleasure of coming to meet you guys and meet some of your team, just awesome human beings and employees. But today I definitely want to pick your brain on what you guys are doing to drive those results. So let's start with what are those results this year? How much business can you attribute to your Zillow advertising this year?
So last time I checked numbers was about right before Christmas, and we had 97 Zillow transactions this year. And that's just this year, not anything for next year. Up until this rollout with Concierge and all those changes, our best year was 55. And so it's a huge jump for us. This year's the most profitable year with Zillow by far. And so it's been a really nice change. And, we've had to make some adjustments on our side, which we can talk about. But, the biggest thing is we're getting way more at-bats now.
Yeah. So when we made that switch to we're calling you with that consumer, right, on the, ready to talk on the other line, we called it PA4. We're calling those connection calls. It went from us just feeding everything into your inbox to now we're calling you. If you answer that call, you're getting to talk to someone. And so, as long as you're able to field that call and then do the right thing on that call, that's a conversation and that's getting the ball rolling, right? And so, how big of a part would you say that has played in the conversion?
It's played a huge part on it because we haven't had to do the chase. And so if someone is willing to schedule a call with you guys, with Alex, right? Basically, if they're scheduling a call with Alex, they're connecting with us, it removes that first barrier. That first barrier is usually the biggest one, right? Trying to get actually someone on the phone or to reply to a text. And so if we can get voice to voice with someone, our chances of converting them is way, way higher. And the reason why is you can connect via text, and that's becoming more and more apparent, obviously, with dialing, but you can't judge context or tone or follow-up questions really, really easily via text. Text is very surface level, and I hate surface level. I want to get down to brass tacks and really understand what's going on with these people that are looking for a house. So, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And who do you feel the consumer is on Zillow, in your opinion? Where do you feel like they're at in the funnel in terms of their readiness to be talking to an agent?
So what we've seen with our data for the last 4 years is someone that registers on Zillow is usually ready to go and will close. The average is 6 months. With PPC leads, the average is about 2 years. So what we're seeing is someone that's much further down in the funnel and much more ready to go. Now, there's still a lot of nurture leads for people that are a ways out. We've still had some Zillow leads that are 3 years. They've registered on multiple sites. We've got the first introduction and the first conversation through you guys. So for us, our average is about 6 months on Zillow leads.
That's awesome. And that's better than the kind of statistic we share, but we do find that, over 50% of the people that submit something on our platform go on to buy within 12 months.
Okay.
So, you guys are getting that a little speedier, which is awesome, but, that does align, with what you're seeing as well. So that's great. Okay, perfect. So tell me a little bit about what you feel are some of the keys to success for your team. How have you driven almost 100 transactions in 1 year from Zillow advertising?
Well, I think it starts with our ISA department. We are always on. We always have someone to take those calls. If I see Zillow ring twice, I know one of my guys missed it, and it's my kind of backup opportunity, or another agent missed it. And so if I see 2 quick calls in a row, I know, hey, let's grab it because that's a freebie.
Yeah.
Secondly, we've just had to have some pretty good conversations with our agents about the expectation is always coming into the office with someone that is requesting a showing or something like that. They don't want to jump through hoops. So we've had to adjust our process a little bit with some Zillow leads. And basically, we used to be about 90% in-office appointments. I'd say now that number's dropped down to about 75%, 70% in-office appointments on the buy side. And so we've had to adjust things a little bit, and we've had to actually show a lot more value too. So if you want to convert someone, you don't just show up and show them the house. What a really good tactic worked here from one of my agents is he'll show up and show them the house, build rapport, and then he'll say, okay, we got 2 others after this. And people will say, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, this house, based on everything I learned from Jim, it fits what you guys are looking for. Does this look like something you'd like? Oh, yeah, we never even saw this. Okay, we're going to take a look at this. We're going to take a look at this house. And then at that third house, what they'll do is say, okay, what do you think? Did I add value? Can you guys sit down next week, or can we sit down and have coffee and just have a chat and learn a little bit more about you and see what you're looking for? And so it's not just about going out and showing that house. It's showing how can you show more value, whether it's bringing disclosures, whether it's pointing out stuff that's wrong with the house. I mean, very easy things. But often success is in the easy things, and a lot of people don't do them.
Yeah, I think that's a great point because, what I've started to really focus on with my clients is, 1, we've got to answer the phone. That's how we get these opportunities. We get these great calls. 2, we've got 2, we've got to win that conversation. And that's going to be a next question for you. But we've got to bring value in that first conversation, build some rapport. But like you mentioned, we've got to give the consumer what they want. So your ideal situation may be to get them in the office and do that buyer's consultation and then get out and show them a home. And that, like you said, still works with a lot of these consumers. They're open to that. They want the education. They want the guidance. They want the information you have to provide. But at the same time, there's going to be that percentage that if you don't offer to just get them in that home, they're not getting what they're looking for. But then once you get them in that home, what do you do to be more than just a door opener, right? So making sure you know what's important to them about a home that they're going to purchase. If it's the big backyard for their kids and dogs, end that tour in the big backyard, right? And say, can you see yourself here with your kids, with your dogs? Does this big backyard fit your needs? And having additional properties to go show, I think, is so huge as well, because very few people go on to buy the first home they see, right? But getting them face to face, we know that 70% of consumers work with the first agent they meet face to face. And if you can bring some extra value when you do that as well, that's going to be your client.
Yeah. So let's actually bring up another point, which is, what if that property's already pended or sold?
Yeah.
A lot of people will simply say, well, that one's sold. Sorry. I never really lead with the property information. So if you and I were going to have a discussion, Megan, let's say you connected with Alex, connected over to me via Concierge, and it was 123 Main Street. And I look and I see, okay, 123 Main Street's pended. I'm not going to even have a conversation about that house. I'm going to start out with, well, hey, why are you looking? Okay. Who's looking? Is it just you? Is it family? What is it? If it's married or a fiance or significant other, something like that, I want to know that person's name. Because if I can have a conversation with you, it's great. But I know you, Megan, and so I know if I have a conversation with you and your husband, and I know your husband's name, and I can not only reference that throughout the conversation, saying, hey, we're going to help you and your husband's name, things like that, it just helps build rapport little by little. And so if that property is sold, towards the middle of that conversation, 5-6 minutes in, then I'll let them know, like, hey, this one is sold. But while I'm looking, based on our conversation, I see 3 others that might be good for you.
Right. So you're a couple of call outs there. You're not leading with a bummer, like, telling them bad news, right?
No.
Like, so to speak, like a bummer of, I'm sorry, this is pending or this is not available. You're not leading with that. You're not leading with disappointing the consumer. You're getting to know what they're looking for, who it is that's looking, what is going to be crucial for them to find in a home, so that if you do at any point have to deliver the bad news that that one is unavailable and they're not accepting backup offers, for example, then you have that ammunition to, like you said, have some additional properties that you can go show them. And right there, you've brought value. You have literally, shown them that there's something worthwhile in talking to you. And I think that's huge, because I think that is what is led with way too often, whether it's over text, over email, over the phone call, and that just stalls the conversation. You should be still able to get an appointment with someone, even if the property is unavailable, because they see value in meeting with you and your knowledge and expertise to help them with the home buying process.
And not only that, sorry to interrupt you, but
no.
I actually prefer when the property is not available. The reason why is because that consumer needs to have some pain before they ever have a need for an agent. And so I'll often ask, well, how long ago did you see this property? Oh, I just saw it today. Well, hey, it's been on the market for 100 days. We need, in this market, we'll get you in way sooner. So, here's some of the properties that are out there. I need the consumer to feel pain, or they're not going to take action. So,
for sure.
Like, the property's pending, great. Because if it was just that property, like you said, how many consumers buy that first property they see? It's someone kicking tires usually. So that will tell me if they just want to see that property, they're probably not that serious. And
exactly.
That's a follow-up.
Yep.
I have a good follow-up now, and I'll continue to follow up with them, but it's not someone that I should immediately set an appointment with usually.
Perfect. Love it. So then talk to me, how do you guys win that first conversation with a lead and get that appointment? What is kind of, I know one time, a year or so ago, I asked you, do you have any good scripts? And you said, that's a naughty word. That's a naughty word we don't use. Yep. Granted, you've provided me some super valuable, like, email and texting scripts, so to speak. So there is scripts being used by Hatch Realty and your team, but in the conversation with the consumer, when you're on the phone with them, it is not scripted, but there are key things that you guys are looking to discuss and uncover. Can you talk to me a little bit about those?
Yeah, definitely. So, 0 to 3 minutes, we're looking for what's their motivation, what's their timeline, what's their ability, and do they have an agent? So those are the 4 things I'm looking for, literally right off the bat. If I can get those answered, that's a good start to a conversation. And so let's go through those. Motivation. A lot of agents, if someone says, well, I just need more room. Okay, they need more room. They move on. That's not how I do things. Megan, why do you need more room? Give me a reason.
I'm hoping to start a family.
Okay, you're hoping to start a family. When do you want to start a family?
Soon.
Okay. Like soon 6 months or soon a year? What are you thinking?
Yeah, we want to have a child within the next year.
Next year. Okay. Awesome. So you want to get into a house before that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So now what do I know about you?
You know that I'm definitely a buyer in less than 12 months.
Yeah, you're a buyer in less than 12 months.
Probably more like 9 or less.
What's your overriding motivation is to get into a place to start a family. So now I have my bedrock of what leads the conversation. So now anytime I'm referencing pain or pleasure, I'm going to reference starting a family, because that's a huge thing for people, right? And so, Megan, what's an important thing for you with starting a family? What's an important thing about a house that you need?
Right. Good school districts, enough bedrooms, backyard for my kids. Yeah, all of that, right?
Yeah. And so I'm just going to continue to go deeper and deeper and deeper. I'll even reference, like, Megan, have you talked to any other agents since you wanted to start a family, or am I the first agent you're talking to? Things like that. Megan,
Great.
since you guys want to start a family, have you spoke with a bank, or do I need to help with that? And I just keep
Awesome.
pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. And literally 9 times out of 10, when someone gives me that first objection or that first motivation, it's bullshit. It's not real. And so we need to get down into the brass tacks and into the weeds and really figure out, okay, what is actually going on here. And most agents will just LP mama things and be like, okay, what do you need? What location do you need? How much square footage do you need? How many bedrooms do you need? And it can answer questions, but it doesn't form connection. And what I'm trying to do with these questions is I'm really trying to, in the first 3 minutes, figure out, is this person serious? Can they do it? Do they have an agent? The following 3 to 8 minutes, I'm looking at basically Ford. So what's their family, their occupation, recreation, dreams. So with the dreams phase on that, people are like, well, dreams, how do you get that out of people? Megan, I mean, what was starting a family, like, what's your dream house look like, or what's it feel like? Like, if you walked in, how will you know it's the right house? Things like that. And so most agents are asking very surface level questions because most agents are just trying to get off the phone. They're trying to get an appointment, get off the phone. And that's not what I'm doing. I'm trying to literally stay on the phone as long as possible with this person, understand them, get as much information from them, build as much of a connection as possible. And I know if I've done it right, at the end when I say you're going to go meet with Kyle or you're going to go meet with Tyler, that they're a little bit pissed off. And they're a little bit like, well, why aren't I going to meet with you? That's how I know I did my job really well. It's not an ego thing or anything like that. It's because they feel so connected with me because I've taken the time to actually understand their needs, that they're like, I want to work with these guys.
Right. Right. And you, as the first line of defense, so to speak, you're the first person they're interacting with, right? You really are setting the tone for what they can expect in their experience, and what it's going to be like to work with someone from Hatch Realty. But that, for agents that are fielding these calls directly, it's the same, right? Like they are what's going to determine whether or not that consumer works with them or someone within their brokerage. And so it needs to be the same approach. And, you know, some of the things that I know are really valuable is, you know, to establish who you are on that, in that call right off the bat, to, you know, make mention of the property if it is available, you know, offering to show it to them or have them come and meet you. But then oftentimes that's where it stops, right? Like if they get the appointment, then it's like, okay, great. I'll confirm I can show it to you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Well, what happens if something comes up and that consumer can't actually do that after the fact? Now there's no rapport built. There's no reason for them to be calling you back, for them to be interested in working with you. Whereas if you've had a good conversation where they felt heard, they felt like you understand their wants and needs, you care about what they're looking for, they're, like you said, if you've done your job right, they're mad that you're handing them off to someone. So it should be the same thing. Like they're eager to contact you back if you were the agent handling that call. They're eager to, you know, go see the property at a different time with you because something came up for the initial time. But if you've done nothing but just say, okay, I'll confirm that I've got this appointment set, and there's been no information gathered from them, no rapport built, then you're really missing the boat.
Yeah, exactly. You're not there to take an order. You're there to understand an order.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. I mean, you definitely want to get them what they want, right? You want to get their order right, but you want to make sure that, you know, there's more to it than just that. And that's where, like, you don't want to just be that door opener. You want to be someone that they are going to know and know that they can trust to help them with the largest purchase of their life, right?
Yeah, and honestly, like, if they have kids, I want to know what their kids are looking for. I want to know, you know, their kids' names. Often you won't have to ask for it. People will just reference their kids' names, right? And if more I can get information, like, it's stupid, like cats, dogs, what types, how many do you have? What are their names? Like literally finding out those small details. So if you can talk to people about the things they love, they're going to love you back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's the same in my job, right? So, you know, a new client of mine recently, we connected so easily because I had read her bio and saw that she rescues dogs, you know, and I have 2 rescue dogs as well. And there's that instant connection, that instant rapport, that instant like increase in trust just because I had taken the time to learn a little something about her. And we had something in common that we were both passionate about, right? Yep. So absolutely. Awesome. Okay, so let's flip a little bit to, you know, what are some of the objections that you guys come across and how do you handle those?
So the common objections with Zillow people, I just wanted to see that house. I just want to see it. I have an agent. It's a pretty common one. Depending on what products you guys have, we found this more on the home selling side that you would get a lot of renters. Or I'm looking to rent, and so we can cover all 3, any of these in order here.
Yep.
Another big one is I don't want to meet at the office. I want to meet at the house.
Okay.
So oftentimes if an agent or, you know, if someone calls and they say, I have an agent. Great. Why are we talking? Or, okay, great. So you have an agent. You're going to go take a look at this. You care if I call you next week and check in and see how things are going? No, people aren't going to care if you check in with them again. And typically I know there's 3 or 4 teams that do this. One's out of California. The other is out of Tennessee that I know do this. And they get a ton of business because that agent didn't have them under contract. It was someone that they just met at an open house, or like you said, 70% of people work with the first one they met. And so they're not getting communication from this agent. That's the number one thing you're going to hear from the consumer side, whether it's an expired or it's a local call, anything like that, is they just don't hear from people. And so we follow up next week, see how that showing went. And they're like, well, you know, we're actually not under contract and we haven't really heard anything from them. Well, hey, you know, from our conversation, these 4 houses might be an interest to you. Do you care if I send them over to you and see if it's something you're interested in? And then start to build rapport. It's almost like starting over, but you have a little bit of information to start. So that helps. I'm looking to rent. I had a call, a concierge call. This was like, it was summertime. So it was probably like July or August this happened, where this person called in literally wanting to know about this apartment that was for rent. I don't handle rentals. And I was like, you know, you're not talking to the right person. But, you know, why are we talking? I mean, what stood out about that apartment, or why are you looking in that area? Got into her story, which was she was recently divorced, had adopted 5 special needs kids, and like she wanted to be in this neighborhood because it was close to her friend and close to her sister. And so I had actually given her the property manager's phone number. I had found it just going and searching that property out, getting it to her. So I was coming from contribution, being helpful, which most agents won't do. My phone number in case she ever was looking to buy, because she had got my number from basically a sign that was in the yard down the street. And so she came to us, asked about a rental, lowest quality lead possible, just went through a divorce, just adopted 5 kids. You're thinking like, what financial ability does she have? Because she didn't work for a long time. And so she called me back like 20 minutes later, was like, you know what? I really like that house. Can we talk? And so we actually just closed her a month and a half ago. And so she called in on a rental. And basically what we were able to figure out is like she had ability because she had a ton of alimony coming in and a ton of funds coming in. And she was getting back started into the workforce. And so she had the ability to buy this place, and she wanted to work with us because I wasn't a dick and I actually answered questions and I helped her. It's a really crazy thing. Just help people and you'll get way more business.
For sure. I mean, your suggestion on they say they have an agent, right? And saying, well, would it be okay if I follow up to make sure your showing went well and you got taken care of, in a week? And when you actually do that, that's a different level of service than they're used to.
Yep.
Coming from any industry, right? Like just overall. And the fact that you followed up and cared enough to see if they were taken care of. Now, if they aren't being taken care of, they're going, wow, this person who has nothing really to gain at this point. Like I told them I have an agent, is following through on what they said they're going to do. I think that's huge. I do see a little timer up here. Are we going to be okay if we go past 9 minutes, or is it going to cut us off?
No, we're going to cut you off. So, yeah.
Okay. So let's dig into how you drive accountability with your team and the agents that leads are handed over to. Talk to me about that.
Yes, we just have a system, so they need to update notes within 24 hours of that meeting. They need to tell me where it's at. If it is back in my court, they'll put it on ISA rechase in the pipeline status. And that way I know, hey, I have to go and grab this person and nurture them now. Secondly, I'll send out a group introduction text. And I'll say like, hey, Megan, thanks for chatting today. Really looking forward to meeting with you at 4 o'clock on Thursday. You're going to be meeting with Cole at our office. Here's our address. Let us know if you have any questions. That one thing has allowed us, for me as ISA, I can see the interaction between you guys now. I can make sure like, hey, I introduced you to my agent, Mr. Agent, you didn't reply to that text. We're going to have a conversation. Or what will happen a lot of times is they know they need to actually reply to that conversation. And so they know, okay, we got basically 20 minutes to reply to this. And a lot of them will just pop off right away if they're not in an appointment. They'll say, hey, Megan, really look forward to meeting with you. Let me know if you have anything. And they'll start building that relationship ever before that meeting actually occurs. And the reason why it basically is I want them to say yes to me. And then I want them to say yes to an appointment with that agent. And then I want them to say yes to that agent in text. Because if there's 3 yeses, more likely what's that show up rate going to be? It's going to go up. And they're going to actually be more bought into the process. So that's the big, as far as accountability pieces. If you screw up, own it. I'm a lot like my parents. If you screw up, just admit it. If you lie about it, we're going to have issues. So,
yeah.
And so, if it's a really big infraction, I'll skip them in rotation, which means if they're next up to get an appointment, they don't get it. And it goes to another agent. And basically there has to be some sort of consequences if you screw up, whether that's on an ISA or agent or anything. If it's an open conversation and people own it and it's a coachable moment, that's one thing. If it's hubris or arrogance, I don't deal with that.
Great. And then I know when I came and visited, you guys were doing morning huddles, like as an entire brokerage. Mm-hmm. Are you guys still doing those, or what's like having meetings look like for accountability there too?
Yeah, I mean, they have a sales manager meeting every month. And that's probably not as often as it should be. That at least gives us opportunities to look at their pipeline and say, okay, what happened with this one? If notes aren't updated, say this one's in contracted. Here's your appointments. 6 are contracted, 3 were rechased, 2 are not updated yet. So what's going on here? And so I would put that as a weekly meeting. You can just be a weekly 15-minute meeting, but we just have it set up for once a month right now.
Okay. And you guys are pretty dialed in at this point, but, I know you guys have had stuff more frequently in the past. And I think it's something that you do need to evaluate. If there's some things going off the rails, then we need to do it more frequently, right? And then there's a lot of communication too, just with you guys and the agents and, all of that on where things are at. So that's kind of an ongoing piece as well. Awesome. And so then, are there any other tools and systems that you think are really helping you guys drive conversion?
Our messaging plans have been really good for the nurturers. That's
the scripts you provided me.
Yep. You can find those on Leads Geeks and Facebook a lot of times. So really what drives conversion for us is connection with people. And so we try to automate the ones that are, the concierge that come over. Those are very easy. You're having a voice-to-voice conversation. It's the ones that are nurtures that can be a little bit harder. And so for those, automate as much as you can. We send 2 texts the first day, 1 email, and then it's 1 text and 1 email every other day for those first 10 days. And what we've seen with our plans is we're getting a hold of about 87% of people in the first 3 days. And so automate as much as you can, use text, use email to set up a time for that phone call or to set up a time to chat. So that's what's been good for us on the conversion side on the nurtures.
That's awesome, because that's what I coach too as well, is really be aggressive in the first few days.
Yep.
That's going to give you the best shot of getting in touch with them. Make sure you have that in place and it's consistently happening. And, you know, thank you for having those scripts out there for everybody, because those are gold.
Yep.
So yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, good. Well, you know, as we've talked today, I definitely am pulling away some common themes of, you know, really taking the time to build rapport and show the consumer you care, you know, good communication, bringing value to them. And so, you know, I love all of that. And I believe that's why you guys are also best of Zillow on Zillow. So that 90 or greater rating from the consumer on their experience with you. You have the best of Zillow badge. You were one of the early teams to gain that. And that's pretty impressive, because it is evaluating pretty much everybody that's involved in these leads, right? So is there anything else you feel has really helped you guys besides knowing where you can look to track it, some tracking, you know, and reporting and that kind of thing, right, that I can provide? Is there anything else you feel has helped you guys drive that awesome result?
No, I mean, literally, I think success with this is literally being able to answer your phone and having some person accountable to that. And so for us, we have dedicated time. So I have 4 ISAs from 8 in the morning until 9:30 at night. It's staffed, and we have a backup every time too. So, you know, if you're on and I see the phone ring, you got 3 rings, and if you don't get to it, I'm getting it. So
yep.
Basically, we always just want to have that bench, have accountability on the agent side, and have accountability on the ISAs and the front end side to make sure that phone's getting answered. And
Awesome.
having those conversations with you and basically looking, okay, what days are we really struggling with? And seeing that data has been like, oh, Friday through Sunday for us is a little bit tough. And so we got to beef up there. What's going on there? And so we need to have some accountability conversations with ISAs on my side. And we did. And what we've seen is that number's gone up. And so having data and having connection, I think, are the 2 biggest things for Zillow leads.
Perfect. So talking to me is important too.
Yeah. Oh, you know, I always like talking to you.
Perfect.
For sure.
I know. It's a 2-way street there. Well, awesome, Jim. This has been fantastic. I really appreciate it. I know this is going to bring a lot of value to my clients, and I'm excited for 2020 and how you guys are going to crush it even more. Look forward to having this continued relationship. So I know I value you guys. Zillow values you guys. You are the kind of partner that we absolutely want on this platform, because you are delivering an excellent experience to the consumer. And that is our North Star. That is who we're focused on. And because I believe, you know, from my first interactions with you guys, I believe that you guys also care about that. That is your priority. Yep. That's why you guys are winning. So yeah. Yep. Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So thanks. You know, you guys can reach out to me on Leads Geeks. If you have any question, reach out to Megan. We'll put her contact info in, at the bottom. So if you need anything, let her know. And you guys have a great day. We'll talk to you next time.